episode of our ongoing. Welcome one and all to the 14th episode of our boring and ongoing uh, session on social, economic, and political matters, the Swahili edition. We are glad that we're doing the 14th edition and we have an important announcement. We recently had an agreement with Viga TV News to have the episode going live on their social media platforms, and that's quite a big deal. We hope that we'll have bigger wins as we progress. Thank you, Viga TV News. We are live. We are live. We are live. We are live. We are live on Viga TV News. And right now, you go there, check that we are discussing this across the board. So on today's topic, sustainable peace, and the question is sustainable peace evasive, or is it just a pipe dream in our communities and in our environments? Basically, when it comes to our political engagements, and of course, in our social and economic activities, is sustainable peace completely evasive? Can we achieve it if we tried, or we cannot, no matter how hard we try? So on Swahili Edition, we ask, is sustainable peace completely evasive? Hatuwezi toboa, hatuwezi toboa. Ama, what can we do about it? Now, an introduction. On Swahili Edition today, we will be referring to an article by the UNDP, the United Nations Development Program, on 20th July 2017, that stated that 1.4 billion people, including half of the world's extremely poor people, live in fragile and conflicted settings. 1.4 billion, not billions. It must get to billions when it comes to strange tender words in our country. It didn't say that. So 1.4 billion live in fragile and conflicted settings, and the number is projected to grow by a staggering 82%. 82% by 2030. Those are facts, and the link is right there in my description of this live session. It also says that 244 million people are on the move, or they are moving around. They are always moving from one area to another. 65 million people in our world are being forcibly evicted or displaced. So, honestly, these are facts researched by the UNDP, and it raises a lot of questions. Can we achieve that basic thing called peace? What are sustainable? Sustainable might be difficult. Peace, just peace in itself. The world with 1.4 billion people living in a conflict areas, with the 244 million people on the move. The move, it means wako tu wanarandaranda ama nomadic, and 65 million that are being forcibly displaced. Sustaining peace or sustainable peace, as per the definition given herein, is a concept that has been brought up by the United Nations and General Assembly, UNGA. Congratulations on your 75th anniversary, by the way. The UNGA, the United Nations General Assembly, focuses on the importance of having a long-term, comprehensive vision in all responses to conflict, to end the vicious cycle of lapse and relapse. So sustaining peace or sustainable peace is a concept by the United Nations General Assembly, UNGA, that seeks to focus on the importance of having a long-term, underlying long-term, and comprehensive vision in all responses to conflict, to end the vicious cycle of lapse and relapse. So that we do not have cases of having conflict today, tunaizima na moto, then kesho pia we go back to the same problem of conflict. So that's a lapse and relapse. So that's what we talk when we talk about sustaining peace or sustainable peace. That's what we are basically asking for, or what we are bringing to the table to be eaten, if you want. And SDG 16, which I've also quoted in the description of this video, for Chini, also seeks to bring about peace, justice, and strong institutions. Peace, justice, and strong institutions. So begs the question, so what is sustainable peace? You've said it's a concept by the United Nations, a General Assembly that seeks to focus on a comprehensive and long-term vision to addressing conflict. Either we do not have conflict today, solve it, tomorrow we have conflict, that day we have conflict. So it's very important that we can bring that to the table in our Swahili edition today. And we ask, in your own setting, in your own community, do you think sustainable peace is something that can be achieved? Do you think there is something you can do to achieve sustainable peace? We have to address the elephant in the house. The elephant in the house is that sustainable peace is a responsibility of each and every individual. Unfortunately, we have a number of individual challenges, individual social, economic, and political challenges that are making it very impossible for us to even imagine it. Ni difficult kwako to imagine 2022 will have an election that will be peaceful and will. It's difficult for even a college student, university students to imagine that they will be in school, hawatabeba matawi, hawatarusha glass hawatavunja glasses za library, hawataenda mess. So is it very possible? Can you imagine that? It's impossible for us to think of a situation where citizens can simply get up and say Black Lives Matter. Oh, Black Lives Matter, by the way. Brown lives, I'm a brown life. So Black Lives Matter, and nobody comes to the streets and kicks them, headbutts them, so on. Recently, in the Ugandan elections, something happened. The offices to the front runner of the opposition, Mnamujua Bobi Wine. So his office, their offices, the NUP offices were raided. After kuraidiwa wakachukua pesa nearly 25 million. They took a lot of things, but those are not basics I want to deal with today. But I'm just asking, yani kwa environment kama hiyo, maneighbor wetu, is it possible wafike place yenye wanaweza kuwa na elections bila oppositions kufinyiliwa, just being harassed? Is it possible? Now, if we have to face this question of sustainable peace, we have to face now the other questions of the other sustainable development goals. The other sustainable development goals ya kwanza to end extreme poverty. Na hiyo ndo challenge moja yenye na face sustainable peace. If people can access opportunities, if people can access resources, if people can live, if people can access food, water, shelter, is it possible for there to be sustainable peace? I don't know. But I think if people can access these basics readily, I think we might move a step forward. Unemployment, mazi, jamaa wewe uko tu pale, you have nothing to do. Even the only thing you can do is come in and start doing live feeds. Some of you do black live feeds, at least now there. So do feeds, do nothing. You are unemployed, hauna job. Kutakuwaje na sustainable peace kukiwa na environment zenye ziko hivi? Access to education maze. Mtoto atoke grade 1 apande hadi the highest possible level of learning. Kama watu wanaweza fikia hiyo level ya kusoma hivi, is it possible kwa sisi kuwa na sustainable peace? Equality, gender, religious, so economic status, hustlers na wenyewe, mabwenyenye, the haves and have nots, they can access equal rights regardless of how disadvantaged they are. Can we have sustainable peace? Yeah, your agenda, by the way, should parliament be resolved? And it brings us to SDG 16, which says that peace, justice, and strong institutions. Peace is whereby we can all live with each other, regardless of our differences. We have some basic conflicts, but it ends up tunaongea tunamaliza. Justice is where everyone feels wanafanya the right thing. Everyone is treated kama mwingine. If someone commits a crime, they face the law. If someone is wronged and they report the other person, wanasaidiwa. That is justice. Strong institutions. Strong institutions ni tutaanza na hapo juu. The presidency the three arms of government: legislature, judiciary, executive. So if these arms of government can strengthen all the other institutions, institutions come as the education sector, strong institution. Education in inapea mtu kitu. Education that pumps purpose into people's lives. Education that structures your mind to serve and to be served. The police force. Oh, the police service. The police service is an institution that we have experienced a lot of challenges with. And we still do. But I have many police friends. We talk, they are humans. But the moment the orders come in, guys. So those are strong institutions, and the strong institutions should basically, first and foremost, recognize the basic fact that they are handling humans, and all humans have equal rights. So, having addressed the challenges and having related them to the SDG 16, which says we should have peace, we should feel justified, we should live in a just society, and we should have strong institutions, I ask, then what should we do? What next? From there, now we know that this is happening because of these challenges, and we are addressing a situation that can be handled by the way. Sustainable peace kitu tunaweza handle, something that all of us can play a part in bringing about. So now that we know the challenges, poverty, unemployment. By the way, when you talk about employment, you should also talk about these other forms of unemployment, disgust unemployment, where someone is on a job but hayuko job. Is employment dignified? You do a job that is dignified, and you employ a job that makes you feel that you're as human as everyone else. And every day you go to a job, as Simon Sinek says, you feel okay to go to your job, and you will walk back home a happy human person, and you can treat your kids properly because after all, like your job is being treated properly. So after that, we now go to the concept of conflict in itself. Conflict in itself is a process. Conflict does not start at the time when someone picks a knife and stabs the other person. It does not start at the time when some extremist picks a gun and goes to a wall on the streets. It does not start at the time when the police start headbutting citizens on the road. Conflict does not even start when we have tribal clashes. It starts somewhere, and it starts at the basic human need called a need for attention, respect, and the need to feel involved. It's a basic human need. We all want to be engaged, we all want to be involved, we all want to be there on the table and take part of the conversation and know that our opinions count. Guys, Swahili edition is basically an opportunity for me to feel that I'm being listened to. Unfortunately, I don't know how many people listen, but at least I have taken it upon myself that Swahili edition becomes what I use to communicate. At the end of the day, the data the database within the internet will always surface in future. I don't know what that will mean for me. If I say something that is against my real ambitions for a just society, a peaceful society, then it will backfire on me. And it starts there. So we start by having ambitions and start then put them on paper. And that's how conflict itself also happens. We start by people who have small ambitions. Kids who wanted always to be cleaned on time. I was taught that by my psychology lecture. Kids who wanted to be cleaned on time or wanaoshwa, so they knew that they never be cleaned in life. Nobody will care about them. It goes to when they are in primary school. Does someone approach them and say, are you okay? Mental health in the early stages of development. Does someone take any keen interest in their mental health, in their growth? And it goes to someone now when you're growing into an independent person. Are you given that space to explore, to experiment? I don't have to be the person saying this, but in truth, people have to have that right to experiment with what they feel, what they think. Then we move into our independent life. Now, can we replicate what we did to what was done to us to others? So that process. So that is an individual growth process. But as they interact with the community and as they interact with other people within their society, it's now where conflict might occur. This one was brought up this way, this one was brought up the other way, and they do not agree. So some people make friends, unfortunately others make enemies. And some people just stay there on the fence. Like I stay there on the fence. Rarely making friends, rarely making enemies, but rarely causing conflict. Or I cause a lot of conflict. I have I have my political opinions, you see. So that's conflicting. I have my ideas about how to become economically stable. I have my ideas about how to become socially recognizable, you see. Those are conflicting. Those are mine. Now, when we interact with everyone else, can we compromise? Can we discuss? Can we agree? Or do we have to fight? So this is a debate that is ongoing. But we go back to conflict management and maintaining sustainable peace now within our communities, within the broader picture. So it's that this is where now we start asking, how are our systems? Do they bring about an environment where we can listen and be listened? Do they encourage conversation? If you can't communicate by word of mouth, do you have an opportunity to communicate in writing? Do you have an opportunity to communicate and not be judged? That's where there might be a bigger issue. And for this generation, for a generation that makes nearly 1 million videos on Facebook, on live Facebook feeds every day, I know they want to communicate. Sometimes they communicate it in the wrong way. But can they communicate and still not be judged? And then they be given an opportunity to say, this is our opinion. It matters. That is where it starts from. A feeling of my opinion matters. My standpoint can be listened to. My standpoint makes sense. So sustainable peace is about conversation. Sustainable peace is about an opportunity to have your opinion listened to. Unfortunately, not all the times will your opinion be heard. Not all the time will your opinion make sense. Sometimes your opinion can be brilliant, but your opinion won't be making sense. It's also about you getting back to yourself and saying, what about the other? Tribalism and those social caste conflicts. In the US at the moment, there is a growing number of militias. Militias are people who are armed and dangerous, and they train like they're in the military. They have armed, they are armed, and they are already pondering over the possibility of civil war. The United States of America, the militias are now wondering, something might happen. We might get to the streets. We might fight. So they are readying themselves for that. That's in the United States of America. These are small groups, and we have seen what they've done in certain settings. We have seen mass shootings in schools, even hotels. We have seen uh, brandishing of guns within social organizations, where right now you see a case where people cannot move freely. You are scared, and that does not necessarily mean that the leaders are not doing the right thing. It might mean something different. It might mean no, the citizens are not taking their role as members of the community and as members of the country seriously. Might. And also, there might be issues with the bigger debate, gun control, the racism. There might be issues. When I speak about other countries, I'm prospective. I do not know anything about it. But when I come back here, in my own country, in Kenya, maybe hapa vilipo, najua nitaongea vitu zinajulikana. What we have issues here, tuko na shida na watu ku access mashamba, so we can see localized crime, kuua majirani, mandugu. So those are within our families, family conflicts, things that can be solved through conversations. Uh, homicide and suicide rates can be projected to rise if the conversation is not elicited at this moment. Homicide and suicide, because at the end of the day, people want to take their share. If they are not given it, they will want to take their share. And it's a dangerous game that we are slowly cultivating. And then the role of government in ensuring peace, justice, and strong institutions is to first recognize that government is the people's institution. People's institution. It's there to serve the interests of the people. Unfortunately, we have had a situation whereby the people served by the government must be people in government, which a very high approximation of the number of people that can be in government at one time won't go beyond 10,000. In government, I'm not talking about those servants in government at a go. So government can hold only a certain number of people at a go. What about the other people who are not or are presumably out of government? Does their opinion count? Does what they expect from authority and from our services and goods matter? I've deviated to the bigger conversation, but on the way forward, I'll still insist on what the United Nations General Assembly recommends, which is setting up of a long-term comprehensive vision for this country. That long-term comprehensive vision should include the individual. That individual is you and me. Thank you. Off the record, today we as I had said earlier, we launched our partnership with Bigger TV News, and that partnership includes us having content aired twice every week. So the next episode of Swahili Edition will be on Wednesday, and it will be entirely in two languages, Luya and Swahili. I hope you will engage. Asanteni sana.